Hey guys, Deathslayer Magic here, back with another great deck, and I know after reading the title you're probably like, whoa, calm it down there, Des. I think you're hyping up the deck a little too hard, but yeah, I did actually name it kinda okay, I guess. I probably should have put 2021 in the title. Like, I've been putting the format in the title because the filtering is just broken. Now that I think about it, they just patched the game today, so they might have fixed it. But yeah, like the wrong decks were showing up under the wrong thing when you go to like hit add deck or whatever is a nightmare. Even the deck building filter was wrong, so you get done after setting your deck as blah format, and then it's not legal in that format. I could see how that would piss some people off. So like I was naming this Lifemare Hist as in historic, so hopefully you shouldn't have to do that, but honestly, they've screwed it up so many times I would keep doing it. So let's take a look at this deck. This is actually pretty good. It's still 68 cards. I'm still kind of working on it, but you guys can go perfect it if you really give enough of a crap to play this. I haven't taken a look at Brawl. I don't know why I haven't taken a look at Brawl, because I heard post-ban it's actually not that bad. They didn't ban all of the problem commanders, so they probably actually made it worse, but I've been told it's tolerable. In the standard queue, like actual just standard, I'd say 90% of games are unbearable garbage against OP trash that nobody in the right mind would ever want to play against. Not to mention just not fun decks to play against, whether I win or lose. Then we got, let's see, Historic, that's a joke. I mean, just an absolute joke. They didn't fix anything. Field of the Dead, oh boy, well, there's still Goblin Rush, who cares? So then we've got the grand savior of everything, the rotated early because screw Wizards of the Coast, sincerely MTG Arena Team 2021 queue, which is awful. If they would make about 5 to 10 card bans, it would literally be perfect. Like, it would be so well balanced and leveled. People could play any major archetype that was intended and anything that can pull out of their ass and have a pretty good chance of winning with it. So we got to get back to the play anything level. I mean, we've been there a couple times in Magic's history, not often, but it's closer. I'd say 50% of my games, I'm like, okay, you know, whatever. Even going up against Adventures without the other 4 sets of support, it's not that good of a deck. I mean, if you let it just run away, okay, great. But now that I've played enough games to just learn, okay, my deck has to run enchantment removal or it's not going to work. I put some in. I put in some, where is it? Heliod's something, Sinners somewhere. There it is. One Heliod's Intervention. I thought I put in some, Banishing. I mean, we got it. I wanted to put in a couple Revokes too, potentially. Actually, yeah, it's supposed to have less trapped in the towers. I wonder if this didn't save my last edits. That's, kind of weird. Okay, well, bare minimum, that's got to go, and that's, I don't know. This isn't the final version. The deck list will be correct when I put it in the description. Let's put it that way. But yeah, this is kind of like an anti-creature deck because I was going up against almost nothing but Morph, and then I also put some Death Touchers down here, and these, I guarantee, out of these 6 cards, so 6 out of 60, you draw 7, so that's, remember, 6 out of 60, a 10% shot, you draw 7 at the beginning of the game. I guarantee you one of these cards will be in your opening hand every single game. Every game. That is just how the shuffler works. It prioritizes 1 costs. So an automatic starting the game with one of these is wonderful. That's why I'm exploiting it by running 4 and 2 instead of the proper number that you should, because they're guaranteed to be there, which opens up room in the rest of my deck. So thanks, Arena. I mean, you cheat me, I'll just cheat you right back. We got Hushbringer. I mean, that does kind of not work well with like Lurrus and Kunoros, and actually all 3 of those don't work well together, but this is just like a jank whatever, you know, remove stuff and fly and gain life deck. I mean, there's nothing too special. Anyway, this isn't like a dedicated resurrection deck. This isn't a dedicated Archon enchantment drop deck. This isn't a dedicated life gain deck, and it isn't a dedicated removal deck, but it does all of that. So it's just kind of the generic go in and stop everything deck that's also a little bit tweaked to fight the meta. So this deck isn't very good in a vacuum, but in the standard 2021 queue, it is pretty darn good. I'm getting some good win rates with it, upwards of 60-70%, which I think is all you can reasonably ask for at this point. I might experiment with a blue-black one because I keep getting blindsided by stuff that I would love to counterspell, like the giant blow everything up deck. But even going up against one of the #1 top-tier contenders right now, which is Adventures, I beat it the vast majority of the time. They just cannot keep anything important in play. It's not that they can't keep anything in play, like the standard queue. It's that they can't keep anything they critically need in play. So I let them dump in their stupid little this, that, and the other thing, and their little giants and whatever, maybe pin that down. And then as soon as they drop it in 13-13, it's gone. It's pinned down, it's blown up, whatever. As soon as they drop in the Lucky Clover, I blow it away. And as soon as John Candy the Innkeeper shows up, oh, I blow him up with a vengeance and dance on his grave. I hate that card. It needs to be banned. But that said, I mean, honestly, that deck isn't that great. It's just that that card is too powerful. So there's different ways to measure if a card should be banned. So now you get the general idea of this deck. I guess I'll just give you the quick breakdown. We got Death Touchers, we got Lifelink in the air, and Jammer that screws with stuff. This actually helps out your opponent's Titans, by the way, so that's fun. And by the way, this deck loses to Ugin because everything loses to Ugin, duh. It can come back pretty quick, though, I will say that, and Heliod can still wreck his whole life. So it's not like I've never lost when Ugin came into play, but I think I lose 80% of the time. So then we got Trapped in the Tower. I mean, if it's flying, I don't really care about it anyway. I'll just deal with it with my flyers, and there's not that many flyers. So this is basically, I mean, its activated abilities can't be activated. It doesn't suppress triggered abilities, but this is basically removal for 2. That is pretty damn good. Now, this is a removal for 2. If it's under CMC 3, I don't really care about it because, I mean, it's only 1 or 2. There aren't that many broken 1 and 2 cost cards. I mean, even that stupid Knight of Ebon Legion cycled out. So there's, you know, with 8 or 9 sets legal, okay, that's a different story. You might have some really broken stuff in the 2 slot, but not now. So this is actually a really good card. Then we got Dire Tactics. That's just get rid of anything and exile it. Don't blow it up. So whether it's indestructible or not, it's gone. Hexproof from black creatures are annoying, so in that green trample deck, this won't do it. You could go 2-2 between these. I mean, feel free to tweak these based on what you see. I'm playing in the middle of the Diamond League, so what you go up against might be completely different. So feel free to, you know, rebalance this. And then we just got the Universal, just I'm getting rid of it. Just straight up, if it's not a land, it's gone. I love it, 4 of it, obviously. Basri, I mean, now that I added the Death Touchers, I went from 1 Basri to 3, because that emblem is game-ending. I have never had somebody beat me when I get the emblem out. It is almost not possible. I mean, Trample will get past it, but I've got life gain and I've got removal. I mean, it just keeps going. I mean, this is just good. And then that -2 is really good for going wide. The +1 is good for going tall or big or whatever the opposite of wide is. And then, like I said, that emblem, a 1/1 on everything with a free token, I mean, that's right up there with like a Johnny, except he's 3. So you just have to protect him for like 3 turns and there you go. Which you can usually do between the early game removal, the suppression, and then the Death Touchers. You can usually get it done. So, I mean, I wasn't going to go all in Basri. This did start as a Planeswalker like wall Death Touch guard deck, and then I flipped the color, went this way instead, because it just wasn't working. But you might see a 2 to 3 color Planeswalker defense just alt deck, you know, kind of Super Friends, but a little more direct in the near future, because I still think that idea has some mileage. Well, then we got Heliod because he's just a powerhouse by himself. I mean, this isn't a life gain deck. I'm not going to be just dumping counters every time I blink, but a lot of life gain go on. There's a lot of life gain triggers, and the big thing is that he can just give lifelink to anybody, and then it gets a counter too when it hits. It's truly and sincerely broken. This card probably should be banned. By the way, I'm noticing that I would have went all in with black-white life gain if I had Healer's Hawk. I mean, people made jokes about Healer's Hawk. Now that it's gone, the whole deck is powered down to the point where it's like, you got to do something a little different. I wish I was kidding. Then we got Healer's Hawk's replacement for 3, Indulging Patrician. I mean, this could block a 3 damage creature. You know, don't count it out. But that whole, if you gain 3 life, ding them for 3, you don't really need it. It's more a blocker and a lifelinker and something for Heliod to dump counters onto. Or a lightning rod if they're going to be paranoid and think this is actually going to do something in the average game. It isn't. If you're gaining 3 life per turn, it means you're hitting them, basically, because the only source of life gain in this deck is really lifelink. So yeah, this just kills them quicker, but it's like you probably would have won anyway if you're consistently hitting them and living through it. And if you're not, you probably wouldn't swing. It's not safe. It's not worth the 3 dings. So this is just nice. It's another flyer. I mean, whatever. Then we got Kunoros. I mean, Vigilance, Menace, and Lifelink. And then creature cards in graveyards can't enter the battlefield. Bye-bye, stupid broken morph piece of crap. I think, wait, have I called it morph this whole time? Pretty sure it's called mutate. Anyway. But yeah, nothing can come out of the graveyard. I love it. It's so great. That absolutely shuts down Lurrus, though. And I think, like, what, Hushbringer shuts down both of them or something? I don't know. There's all these interactions that I didn't immediately think of. I'm like, oh, those probably don't go well together. So if it's really becoming a problem, you can get rid of it. But his ability to block, his ability to bring stuff back, and this ability to screw with your opponent is just hilarious. But you don't have an at-will removal for one that's being a problem if you wanted to just, like, go with Lurrus. But then again, you could just like block with this or block with this, and well, there you go. But yeah, I mean, these two are solid creatures. I mean, you need some mid-range lifelinkers and you need some vicious creatures for 3, and here they are. And I'm only running 1 of each too, by the way. Then we got Archon of Absolution. This card is comical. I love it. People need to appreciate this card more. 3/2 flyers, so it's already 3 in the air. Protection from white, that's hilarious. And then nobody can swing at you whether this is tapped or not. Hello, Archangel of Tides. I think that was the card that cared if it was tapped. Unless they pay 1 per creature. So if they're going wide, they are going to lose is what they're going to do. So yeah, I only put 2 in because, you know, it's a 68 card deck trying to trim it. But then we do have Archon because, I mean, yeah, it's up there, but it's double devotion for Heliod, which is kind of cool. And then, I mean, 3 damage in the air, lifelink, that's cool. And then if you can manage to get down an enchantment, great. I think some of these creatures are enchantments. It's not real reliable. Okay, Heliod, cool. Banishing Light, that's pretty much what triggers it. Trapped in the Tower, okay. That's about it. So you might get a free Pegasus. It's not really what the deck does. I just needed a flying lifelinker for 4 that does 3. Plus, he works perfectly with Indulging. Then we got Luminous Broodmoth, which just makes the deck really durable. So if you're playing against high removal, it will kick your ass, except for these 2 right here. So Luminous brings it back flying, and this brings it back as a 1/1. So obviously this one's better, but I mean, this is 4 damage in the air, this is 3 damage in the air, and I was already leaning a little bit too white in this deck anyway, so I went 2 and 2. Then we got Erebos' Intervention. Oh my god, I had somebody forfeit on the spot when I used that second ability, exile twice X cards from the graveyard, and I paid 1 for X and got rid of their 2 Uros. They're just like, well, bye. Goodbye. No more broken shit for you. No more free life, free cards, and god, that card needs to be banned. And honestly, I kind of hate Croxa too. I'm not sure if that one's ban worthy, but I hate it. I am sure of that. Otherwise, yeah, target creature gets -X, works around indestructible again. You can hit something in combat for 2, then finish it off with this. Instant speed, very nice. And then you gain X life. I mean, that's just huge. I've even taken a 1/1 that they had left, and I just needed to gain life to swing with Heliod. And so I just dropped this in, boom, there it is, life gain trigger, and I maxed it out with all my mana because it was, you know, I top decked it. So I soared up to like 30 life, dropped a counter on another flyer, overswung, boom, there you go. Exactly the amount of damage I needed to kill him. So then we got Heliod's Intervention. I mean, I would run 2 of this, but this deck doesn't just exactly rush to 5 or 6 mana, which is where this card is just absolutely deadly. It's not like you can't just cast it for 3 total with X equals 1, but it's destroy X target artifacts and or enchantments. I mean, that's crazy. In a desperate situation, you could use target player gains twice X life, but this just doesn't get high enough to merit that. I mean, I guess if you don't have a target, I would just wait for a target, unless you're like 100% sure it's like a red deck, like a goblin deck, and they're trying to come back. Even then, I mean, Fiery Emancipation. So like, I would sit on this unless I need to save my life with it. It is instant speed too, though, so you can, you know, that's kind of nice. I like that. But yeah, I've taken out like a whole row of mill cards, and the person just forfeits. They're just like, well, I can't mill them now. Okay, bye. And, you know, you still got all your, you know, Theros Beyond Death enchantment creatures you might be able to take out with this. I think the most targets I've ever hit with this is 4, and it was devastating. Just utterly devastating. I think I took out like a, what is that Hydra's Growth or whatever, another card that needs to be banned immediately. Took out like 2 of their... some kind of enchantment I didn't want in play, and then like 1 piece of equipment or something. It was devastating. I think one was their Shadow Spear. Ouch. Which, speaking of that, it wouldn't be unheard of to run Shadow Spear in here. I mean, I maybe was going to throw 1 in, but it's, like I said, 68 cards. Like, what would you possibly cut? You'd have to, like, gut the Luminous and the Nightmare and just say, oh, stuff's not coming back, I guess. I don't know. I mean, you can't gut the low end. It wouldn't work. You need these. You can't gut the removal, because if anything, it needs more removal. And the mid-range, you can't get rid of that. Basri, that's a game winner. Can't get rid of that. It's just... This deck is impossible to make smaller. I will be the first to admit it. It's like a 4-concept deck, and if you shrink any of the concepts enough to get down to 60, you'll be removing a concept. Or the whole deck would be so unbelievably inconsistent. Because I'd love to scale them down evenly, but like I said, you'd have to get rid of what? Like 1... Maybe 1 of these, maybe like 1 of those, and like... I don't know, can't get rid of a Heliod, you can't, maybe 1 of these, I don't know, it's not worth it. I would just run it at 68. And plus, I am running into mills so damn often. You know what? I'm running 68. I see a lot of people running around 80 card decks just because they want to beat mill. Absolutely 100% yes. In fact, if I had a sideboard for this best of 3, I would probably do an additive sideboard where I throw in 2 plains, 2 swamps, and just 3 more Heliod's interventions and then just dump them in and take out nothing. That is legal, by the way. A lot of people don't realize that. So let's get some gameplay. I actually already recorded it. It's pretty funny. You're going to want to stick around for it. It is definitely pretty comical. All right, you can see Party Dog Pet is back. That's always a plus. It was nice when they accidentally unlocked it for everybody. That was kind of cool. But, well, he's back, 80 levels later. Eventually, I think we do get some cards. Remember, I have this at 200% speed. Anyway, there's my 3 free Death Touchers. It's always nice. This deck actually works when it prioritizes stuff that costs 1, 2, and 3, which it always does, because I don't need my 4 drops yet. Now, that said, I do have 2 in hand, but you'll see a pattern if you play this enough. Let's put it that way. I do like the card draw option on Foulmire. That's kind of nice. So you can tell this is an Ugin deck already. I mean, people only play 3 decks, so... and nobody's playing the dog deck anymore. I have a feeling that all those players made it to Mythic because that deck is literally unstoppable. So... I don't think it became less popular. I think I'm just not seeing it. Now, okay, somebody playing Ogre, that's classy. I gave him a nice on that one. He's a classy boy. All right, here we go. So I'm leaving 1 Death Toucher behind because this is actually more of a Blitz deck and then a Fire Emancipation deck, it turns out. But he's definitely ramping into Ugin. Don't get me wrong. He has an Ugin. I mean, we don't see it, and I just blew up his Fire Emancipation, so he just lost. But trust me, Ugin's in this deck. So, I mean, that just shut down everything. I'd be in so much trouble. Fire Emancipation is the #1 card I want gone. Garruk's a close second, though, by the way. Wait, no, that's not Wolf Garruk. You know what? Leave him in then. Wolf Garruk is the one I give a crap about. See, there's Heliod. Nice. Okay, so the Heliod, Hushbringer, and then the other, the 3-cost 1 lifelinker in the air. Very, very good combo. Plus, if you have any kind of mana open, you get the double trigger on granting lifelink. Heliod is so stupidly overpowered. Nobody would give a crap if he costs 5. I think it would even be more reasonable if he costs 4. But at 3, at least they gave Devotion absolutely no support, and it becomes an unplayable nightmare if you ever want him to be a creature after... we're playing with 4 sets legal. It'll be 5 with Zendikar Rising. So there's my Resurrector. So now if he rams into my Death Touchers, I immediately get them back and they're flying. Damn, dude. So a lot of the power in this deck is Heliod dropping counters onto things and Mothra there and then the other demon in the air by themselves, actually. Now, I blocked that with Hushbringer and he's just like not having that. So, next game, pretty darn good open. There's my free Death Toucher that you get with every opening hand, by the way. I believe I had mentioned that, and I'm going to keep mentioning it. So we get another land. That's kind of cool. I don't know why the hell I didn't throw out my Death Toucher first. I guess I didn't like that open, and I wanted to use it for a draw first. I think that was my strategy. It actually, in this deck, since there's almost no draw, it is more useful, but then because I knew what he was playing, I threw it down. So there's Kite Sail. Not a fan of that card, but whatever. I think I blow it up the very next turn, so whatever. He probably sees this and he's like, oh, this isn't a net deck. What do I do? I don't know what to do. What do I pick? Because remember, this is sped way up. It took him quite a while to actually choose that, which is kind of funny. I could have thrown out the Vampire first, but I wanted him to maybe waste a removal on that Death Toucher if he's an idiot. But no, he casts Veto, which having Veto instead of that card right there in my deck seems more logical because you get more out of it. But the lifelink and the having her in the air and then the 4 toughness, all those together make it a better pick. I know that sounds absolutely insane, but I assure you it is the better pick. You will get more benefit out of that, mostly because of Heliod. Why the hell am I not running Murderous Rider? Like, seriously, I guess it just didn't fit in the deck and I'm like, whatever. But, like, it's removal and a lifelink creature. I might revise this. You might find that in the thing. So there's the card draw. I needed that because what do I have? 2 lands, well, 1 land at the time, a 1/1 Death Toucher, and he's at 19, and then removal. Oh boy, I basically lost at that point. This whole game I basically drew nothing. Kitesail just stole that, so that's a bitch. And then there's another land. Thanks. At least I play Temples to solve this. Guess what's on top? Another card I don't need. Great. Oh, love the Shuffler's groupings. I think that's all 4 of those, actually, that I've drawn. That's great. Well, not drawn, but have shown up. You know what I mean. There's another veto because the shuffler is a piece of garbage. I mean, we're late enough in the game for that to show up, but let's just say I don't think that's the last one that shows up. I do blow him up with Epic Downfall and give him a nice because he's a dick. I am not going to win with 1/1s and he keeps gaining life, so I know at this point I've basically lost. He's running Indulgent, he's running the Spear. He's running like a less patient version of my deck. I drew another land and I'm just like, you know what, this game's going absolutely nowhere, so I think I forfeit pretty soon here. I just didn't want to play it out. Clearly when the shuffler's like, here, have all the lands in your deck, it's just time to leave. Let's see. Oh, there's Murderous Rider, there's a Spear, yep, and then he dings me, and yeah. Do I naturally lose or do I forfeit? I'm pretty sure, yeah. Just too much in the air, which is funny, because my deck has almost all flyers in it for significant cards. Didn't draw any of them, no Resurrectors, nothing. I lost because I drew nothing, but you gotta admit, that was a pretty decent game of Magic right there. It doesn't matter that I lost. I got beat by the shuffler. I know this. I'm not going to get all mad that, oh no, RNG caught up with me. I need to win every game. Oh, boo-hoo. That's like some immature little net decking bitch who would have that attitude. I recognize that as, okay, he brought out something, I blew it up. I had the advantage, he had the advantage, I had the advantage, he had the advantage, and went back and forth. That's real Magic. I don't give a shit who wins at that point. Unless I'm really going for daily wins and have to like leave for an appointment or something. So that's why I included it, because it shows how this deck works. It shows that it doesn't win every game. You know, I don't want to paint too rosy of a picture. But you gotta admit, my level of removal screwed him over, and then as soon as I just drew nothing but land straight, I mean, at least I had a shot at it with the Temple, but this was a very representative game right here. Alright, this last game, you're going to want to stay tuned for this shit right here, because he is an Ugin avatar troll net decking douche who starts showboating when he does one little thing because he thinks he's going to win with his little, you know, deck he stole from somebody else, and then I absolutely tear him a new asshole. So this is going to be pretty entertaining. I am glad I got this one recorded. I almost had got this one on film. My gosh, I'm old. So Banishing Light and the Lucky Clover. Oh no, I've already lost, right? Well, one, he's down to 3 cards, so clearly that wasn't the greatest opening draw keep ever. So yeah, I obliterated his 2 that he needed with Heliod's, immediately pulls another one because the shuffler's a piece of shit. Then we get Hushbringer, there we go. So that's gonna jam some of the cards in his deck, I think, maybe a couple, I can't think of any, but it does something to an Adventures deck, I'm just not clear on what. Doesn't stop that damn Saga. I'm getting a little land heavy, but that's fine. You know, I did burn my 1 Heliod's X spell, though, but yeah, I'm sitting on a removal, sitting on a Death Touch. I thought I pretty much got this. He gets rid of that. Okay, he goes, oops, and then good game because he got rid of my Flying Resurrector. Wow. You really think that's going to make the game for you? So I muted him because I've had enough of that bullshit. So then he gets out the Giant. He thinks that's real hot shit. Brings him out. I'm like, oh, I could wait for the Giant, but, you know, oops. You think I'm going to not taunt him back? Like, I'm a polite player some of the time, depending upon what my opponent's playing and how slowly they're playing, until they start pulling shit like this. So that really pissed me off. That card right there, but I mean, good. Every deck should have access to a board wipe. Well, not every deck, but... Okay, I could deal with it. I maybe should have kept one of those for a bonus card, but I thought, well, I need to pump on the damage. It's 22 to 12. You can't really block those, and I was very sure that was coming. Didn't see that coming, though. The Trapped in the Tower, so no, that's useless. Can't do anything. He's got a serious case of CDS, as they say. Can't do shit. So there we go. We still got Heliod, the absolute powerhouse of the deck, and then I'm just going to outdraw him 2 to 1. And he doesn't have John Candy out, so just saying. Oh no, did somebody blow up your Giant? I'm sorry. There might be a support group that'll help you with your grieving period over losing that, and I'm honestly surprised he didn't just go full butthurt and just start like sandbagging the game. But he did have another Giant high 5 there. I don't care because he stored one of my dogs for me, and I appreciate that very much. Once again, drew another card. Did I mention that the castle, the 2 castle cards are like crucial to this deck operating? Oh no, epic downfall. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I feel so bad. And then I just spam the living holy shit out of the good game button. Oh, there we go. And then I did fit that oops in there. You might have not have caught that. I fit the last oops in after he forfeited. He still, in theory, saw it. So that guy can go right off. If I would have written down his username, I would put it right in the video, just like that Lord of Atlantis douchebag. What a piece of miserable human garbage he is. So, I mean, this deck could also beat Mill. You just gotta basically exile their strongest Mill cards, which would be Teferi's Tutelage, and that's it. Obviously, Teferi's Tutelage, another card that should be banned to make this format actually fun and enjoyable and fair and balanced. But yeah, I mean, it's 68 cards. A lot of their shit's yo-yo stuff, and a lot of my cards don't care if they get yo-yoed back to hand. I don't care. They're cheap, and they don't have stacks on them. They very rarely have counters on them. But, you know, if I could have counterspelled those board wipes, and if I could have counterspelled some of the yo-yo spells and put, what's her face in the graveyard? Brazen, you know, it would do a lot better. So I might make a black-blue kind of version of this deck, but with just more aggressive, blitzy kind of creatures. Obviously about the same amount of flyers because that seems to be working. And then no life gain, but boy, that is, with that black castle out there, it's not the best idea. But there's not, like, no life gain in black. You can still run that Erebos X spell, so I don't know. It might work. I think I'm going to focus on, like, a 3-color Super Friends ultimate, you know, defend until you can ult deck, kind of. I think that'll be the next focus. That, or I might just get back into Brawl. But, I mean, yeah, Arena's still kind of shit, but this is about as playable as you're going to get. Is this very balanced, but, like, kind of unreliable, kind of it matters what you draw when kind of deck. But it has a chance of beating everything in the meta. There is no deck that just stomps it. I mean, even Goblins, you got that 1, 2, 3 stuff that you can drop in that just ends them. And then you can usually recover mid-game in, like, you know, they're down to 1 or 2 cards in hand and now they're burned out, but they can still, you know, top deck stuff. You got life gain. And then it's just, now what are they going to do? The second Heliod becomes a creature, they just leave. So, yeah, this is just a nice, fair, balanced, well-fitting deck for the queue. So I would highly recommend everybody play this if you're looking for something to play. Especially with it being 2-color, you can finish 2 colors worth of missions, daily quests, whatever you call them. So, deck list in the description. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this deck. Hit subscribe if you don't want to miss any future deck techs that'll be up in the future. And I will see you guys next video.